Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Andy Gibb, the meteoric rise and tragic fall of a pop icon. Few stories in pop music burn as brightly, or end as heartbreakingly, as that of Andy Gibb, the youngest brother of the legendary Bee Gees. With his angelic voice, charismatic presence, and natural star power, Andy seemed destined for greatness from the moment he stepped on stage. Though his time in the spotlight was brief, his impact remains unforgettable. A star born into music. Born on March 5, 1958, in Manchester, England, Andy was the youngest of the Gibb brothers. While the Bee Gees, Barry, Robin, and Maurice were already shaping the landscape of pop music, Andy grew up surrounded by melodies, harmonies, and the promise of stardom. By his teens, Andy was performing in clubs, honing not just his voice but the magnetic charm that would soon captivate millions. Unlike many young stars, Andy was guided and supported by a family who understood the industry, though even that couldn't shield him from fame's pressures. His explosive breakthrough. Andy's career skyrocketed almost instantly. His debut album, Flowing Rivers, 1977, produced two #1 hits in the US. I Just Want to Be Your Everything, Love Is Thicker Than Water. At only 19 years old, Andy became the first male solo artist to score 3 consecutive #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, a record that cemented him as one of the brightest young stars of the era. His second album, Shadow Dancing, 1978, featured the title track that became his third #1, confirming his status as a pop sensation. With his soft curls, boyish smile, and effortlessly romantic vocals, Andy Gibb became a teen idol almost overnight. The height of fame. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, Andy was everywhere: magazine covers, TV shows, red carpet events, and sold-out stages. He made frequent appearances on The John Davidson Show, Solid Gold, and even took on Broadway roles. But behind the success, Andy struggled with pressures that fame brings. Sudden stardom at such a young age, combined with personal insecurities, led him toward substance dependency and emotional battles. A struggle hidden behind the spotlight. Despite outward charm and open-hearted vulnerability, Andy faced internal conflicts that few knew the depth of. His struggles affected his work, his relationships, and ultimately his health. By the early 1980s, career opportunities began slipping away. His brothers, always devoted to him, tried to pull him back toward stability and recovery. Andy was open about his challenges, a rare honesty that made fans love him even more. Gone too soon. On March 10, 1988, just 5 days after his 30th birthday, Andy Gibb passed away due to myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart likely worsened by years of drug abuse and stress. The world mourned the loss of a talent that felt destined to shine longer. His brothers called it the saddest moment of our lives, and millions of fans felt the same. A legacy that still shines. Andy Gibb may have lived a short life, but his influence is timeless. His hits remain staples of 70s pop and soft disco nostalgia. His story reminds us of the fragility behind fame. His voice continues to enchant new generations discovering his music. Today, Andy is remembered not just as the youngest Gibb, but as a gifted artist whose gentle spirit, warmth, and musical magic live on. Andy Gibb, a shining light gone too soon. The music world has produced many legends, but few captured hearts as quickly, intensely, and enduringly as Andy Gibb. With his delicate voice, golden boy image, and a smile that could calm a storm, Andy became one of the brightest stars of the late 1970s. His career soared with extraordinary speed, and tragically, so did his decline. Though often remembered as the youngest Gibb brother, Andy's story is powerful in its own right, one of immense talent, personal vulnerability, and a life whose chapters closed far too early. Early life. A boy surrounded by harmony. Andy Gibb was born into a home already vibrating with music. His brothers Barry, Robin, and Maurice had formed the Bee Gees and were rapidly rising to international fame by the time Andy was old enough to speak. Growing up between England, Australia, and the Isle of Man, Andy showed early signs of wanting to follow in their footsteps. He picked up the guitar, wrote small melodies, and performed anywhere he was allowed: school gatherings, local bars, even hotel lounges. Unlike the Bee Gees, whose path was marked by long struggle before breakthrough, Andy's musical dreams were nurtured by a family who knew the industry intimately. His brother Barry, in particular, became a guiding hand in shaping Andy's early sound. But perhaps most importantly, Andy possessed something that couldn't be taught: a tender, romantic voice that listeners instantly connected with. The breakthrough that shocked the industry. At just 18, Andy was signed to RSO Records. His first single, "I Just Wanna Be Your Everything," written by Barry, became a phenomenon. It soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, staying there for 4 weeks. His second single, "Love Is Thicker Than Water," achieved the same feat. Then came the album Shadow Dancing, and with it the title track, his third consecutive #1 song, a record that even established artists struggled to achieve. For a brief, brilliant moment, Andy Gibb wasn't just famous, he was one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Teen magazines adored him. Fans lined up for blocks. TV shows begged for guest appearances. His look, those curls, that softness, made him a natural heartthrob. Yet beneath the glamour, Andy often felt insecure, wanting desperately to prove he was more than Barry's little brother. Life in the limelight, fame, love, and expectations. Fame brought Andy both joy and pressure. He loved performing, loved connecting with fans, and loved the adventure of being young, wealthy, and adored. But fame also magnified his insecurities. Andy struggled with feeling overshadowed by his legendary brothers, a need to constantly prove himself, emotional loneliness despite massive attention, the whirlwind pace of fame at a young age, his relationship with actress Victoria Principal, one of the biggest TV stars of the era, became tabloid gold. Their romance was passionate but turbulent, filled with emotional highs and lows. When it ended, Andy was deeply shaken. The heartbreak, combined with the stress of his career, worsened his reliance on substances. What began as coping gradually grew into self-destruction. The decline. When pressure turned into collapse by the early 1980s, Andy's life had changed dramatically. Roles he'd been offered were taken away due to missed rehearsals. TV producers complained about his unreliability. Even the welcoming arms of his famous family couldn't fully pull him out of his downward spiral. Barry once said, "We lost him long before he died." The Bee Gees tried to help him regain stability. They encouraged him to go to rehab and supported him in his attempts to restart his career. Andy wanted to recover. He often expressed regret and longing for a comeback, but the emotional weight he carried was heavy. Final days, a heart that couldn't endure. In early 1988, Andy checked into a hospital in Oxford, England, suffering from chest pains and extreme exhaustion. Doctors discovered myocarditis, inflammation of the heart. Years of stress, depression, and substance abuse had left him dangerously vulnerable. On March 10, 1988, 5 days after his 30th birthday, Andy Gibb passed away. His death sent shockwaves around the world. Fans mourned. Radio stations played his songs non-stop. And the Gibb family, who had already known the pain of fame, faced the deepest heartbreak of all. Robin Gibb later said, "He had so much going for him, but he didn't see it." Legacy. A voice forever young today, Andy Gibb's legacy is one of both beauty and sadness. His music lives on hits like Shadow Dancing, I Just Want to Be Your Everything, Love Is Thicker Than Water, and Everlasting Love continue to appear in nostalgic playlists, radio specials, and tributes. He broke records that still stand. Few artists in history achieved 3 consecutive #1 hits with their first 3 singles. Andy did. He became a symbol of stardom's fragility. His story is taught as a cautionary tale. The danger of fame without emotional grounding. He remains beloved by fans. Fans around the world continue to share memories, rare interviews, and heartfelt tributes. To them, Andy is forever 20-something, forever golden, forever gentle. In the end, Andy Gibb lived a short life, but it was full of brilliance. His voice, full of warmth and longing, continues to resonate. His charm and innocence still shine through old photos and performances. And his memory remains tied to a special era of music, one where melody, emotion, and starry-eyed dreams ruled the charts. Andy Gibb may be gone, but his story lives on. His legacy is the music he left behind, and the reminder that even the brightest stars need care, love, and understanding.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.